Forget about the people in your past, they didn't make it to your future for a reason. You cannot heal in the same environment where you got sick. You were born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. The longer you entertain what's not for you, the longer you postpone what is. Say no to your desire to be perfect, otherwise, you won't be able to improve further. Drive carefully on this road called life, because people will switch lanes on you without a signal. Choose your habits carefully, they decide your future. The more seriously you take yourself, the unhappier you're going to be. The question isn't who is going to let you, it's who is going to stop you. Recognizing that you are not where you want to be, is a starting point to begin changing your life. Sacrifice today for tomorrow's betterment. You are willing to pay those payments with pain, because pain is just a message when you are fixing something that's insufficient in your life. The greatest thing you can give yourself is freedom from what others think. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. The chief trick to making good mistakes is not to hide them, especially not from yourself. Forget trying to change people. Either change yourself or change your environment. Or both. Stop explaining yourself and telling people everything. You owe no one any explanation of what you do. Changes happen when we go against everything we're used to doing. Before a new chapter is begun, the old one has to be finished. Tell yourself that what has passed will never come back. Nothing is irreplaceable, a habit is not a need. Late often means never. Clock shows time, and time shows people. Let others' actions speak for them. People will show you far more than they will tell you. You can't make people love you the way you love them. If you never heal from what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. Don't make permanent decisions on temporary emotions. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of solving them. Your life becomes meaningful in precise proportion to the depths of the responsibility you are willing to shoulder. Failure shows us the way by showing what isn't the way. Don't raise your voice. Improve your argument. Stop overestimating others and underestimating yourself. Commitment is what gets you started, consistency is what gets you somewhere, and persistence is what keeps you going. Leave when a promise turns into a sorry. 2 things to remember in life. Take care of your thoughts when you are alone, and take care of your words when you are with people. Be aware of people who are in your circle, but not in your corner. Sometimes, you can make all the right choices and then have to sit there and watch them all crumble around you. You just have to pick up the pieces and keep moving. Today is the tomorrow you talked about yesterday. Every person alive hits a crossroads in life, when you have to let go of the past and forge ahead into something new. The only sad thing would be clinging to the past, once it's out of reach. Stay away from narcissists. They don't play by any rules. They will suck the life out of you slowly. You don't ever truly know another person. Unless you can take up residence in their head, you'll never be privy to their true nature. Don't do anything you feel you'd have to lie about later. Don't spend your life dreaming about what could have been in another place, or under different circumstances. Instead, invest your energy in what is right in front of you. Hiding from your problems won't make them disappear. Facing them is the only way to grow. Worry about your character, not your reputation. Your character is who you are. Your reputation is who people think you are. Be smart enough to ask for advice, but be wise enough to know who to seek it from. Don't be afraid to do things by yourself. Waiting for other people will cause you to miss out on some wonderful things in life. Once a problem is solved, its simplicity is amazing. The second you feel like you're hanging on by a thread, let go. You shouldn't be holding on to something that makes you feel that way in the first place. You cannot be everywhere and have everything. Learn to make the right choices, and commit to things that matter most. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And what they have planned for you is not much. You'll lose it, if you talk about it. If you don't separate yourself from your distractions will separate you from your goals. You can only change when your mind is stronger than your emotions. A toxic environment is more likely to change you than you change it. The moment you stop seeking validation from others is the moment you find true confidence. If you set your goals ridiculously high and it's a failure, you will fail above everyone else's success. People will disappoint you, so never put all your trust in anyone. Don't lose yourself by tolerating too much from the people you want to keep. If you find someone smarter than you, work with them, do not compete. Comfort is the worst addiction, and a cheap ticket to depression. Every second you spend comparing your life to someone else's, is a second spent wasting yours. You are allowed to change the price of access to you. Stop expecting others to give you more respect than the respect you give yourself. The secret of change is to focus all your energy, not on fighting the old but on building the new. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is simply believing you're worthy of the destination. Hope is not a strategy. Never let yourself become completely dependent on anyone. Always be able to support yourself financially, mentally, and physically. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it. If it's out of your hands, let it out of your mind too. You can't learn to drive in a parked car. To make progress, you need to get behind the wheel and start moving, even if the road ahead is uncertain. Your growth depends on your willingness to keep learning, even when it's boring. You learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time. The life in front of you is far more important than the life behind you. Ignoring red flags because you want to see the good in people will cost you later. People give you advice based on their perspective. The moment you realize that your past mistakes are not chains but lessons, you can begin to craft a future that isn't dictated by your regrets. There will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. Sometimes painful things can teach us lessons that we didn't think we needed to know. It's okay to outgrow people, places, and mindsets that no longer serve your growth. You can win a lot in life just by being the last one to give up. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The greatest danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. If you can't say no, then your yes means nothing. Stop being so available to people who are only there for you when it's convenient for them. True success doesn't depend on seeking validation from others. It stems from seizing opportunities, proving what you're capable of, and accomplishing your goals despite challenges. It's not the load that breaks you down, but how you carry it. The energy we spend to complain can be redirected to act for change. When we take responsibility, we get out of the victim mode and move on. What you want requires consistency and discipline. There's only one thing more precious than our time, and that's who we spend it on. You must discipline yourself carefully. You must keep the promises you make to yourself, and reward yourself so that you can trust and motivate yourself. You are the only person you can control. Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow. There can be no progress, no achievement, without sacrifice, and a man's worldly success will be in the measure that he sacrifices. Mistakes won't hold you back, not learning from them will. Just because the boat rocks, doesn't mean it's time to jump overboard. Worrying about something isn't going to change the outcome, it's only going to waste time and energy that could be better used somewhere else. True growth is rarely accompanied by joy and celebration. The second you feel like you are hanging on by a thread, let go. You shouldn't be holding on to something that makes you feel that way in the first place. First, you choose a partner on the basis of their looks and enjoy. Until you realize that, your kids will not be raised by their looks but by their values. People know your worth, they just hope you don't. Accept people as they are, but place people where they belong. It's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. Don't try to save a person who isn't actively trying to save themselves. They just want someone to pull down with them, and often don't really want to be saved. Be careful about the stories you're telling yourself about your current circumstances. A head full of negative thoughts has no space for positive ones. Experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first, and the lesson afterward. Solving a problem without solving its root cause is like taking a step forward and then one back. How to treat your body before you are 45 is how your body will treat you after you are 45. 2 things to remember in life. Take care of your thoughts when you're alone, and take care of your words when you're with people. Every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. If they don't know you personally, don't take it personally. Don't let anyone who hasn't been in your shoes tell you how to tie your laces. Sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. You can choose the game you play, but not its rules. We cannot live happily wishing the world follow the rules we are comfortable with. The human capacity for burden is like bamboo, far more flexible than you'd ever believe at first glance. The time you kill does not die without avenging itself. When you find no solution to a problem, it's probably not a problem to be solved, but rather a truth to be accepted. Adversity is not a detour, it is part of the path. A decision is a sharp knife that cuts clean and straight. Indecision is a dull one that hacks and tears and leaves ragged edges behind it. Don't be scared because you don't have all the answers right away. You will learn through your experiences and find your own way to happiness. Change is never painful, only resistance to change is painful. Don't be discouraged. It's often the last key in the bunch that opens the lock. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. No amount of regret can change the past, and no amount of worrying can change the future. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, then suddenly you are doing the impossible. Choosing comfort over discomfort does not lead to a comfortable life. Some people are investments, and some people are bills. Know the difference. Our wounds are often the openings into the best and most beautiful part of us. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You will find that they haven't half the strength you think they have. People who avoid failure also avoid success. Take care of your body. It is the only place you have to live in. People don't think about you as much as you imagine they do. More important than the ability to pick the right one is the strength to walk away from the wrong one. As you improve, you'll find yourself more disappointed with those around you. To avoid this, be hard on yourself but understanding of others. You may be the only person left who believes in you, but it's enough. Don't base your decisions on the advice of those who don't have to deal with the results. Buy something without looking at the price tag, first work without looking at the clock. There's only one thing more precious than our time, and that's who we spend it on. Confidence isn't walking into a room thinking you are better than everyone, it's walking in not having to compare yourself to anyone at all. The past cannot be changed, forgotten, edited, or erased, it can only be accepted. If you're born poor, it's not your mistake. If you die poor, it's your mistake. Your life will get better when you realize it's better to be alone than to chase people who don't really care about you. You're going to make a lot of people mad doing what's right for you. Time is like a river. You cannot touch the same water twice, because the flow that has passed will never pass again. Better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. The only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. And the only person better you should be, this is who you are now. A denied expectation hurts more than a denied hope, while a fulfilled hope makes us happier than a fulfilled expectation. The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough.